Hello and welcome to the AEW Dynamite review. I'm Michael Sidgwick, joined by Michael Hamflett to discuss everything that went down on last night's show. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure to subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. We preview and review Dynamite, Collision, Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. Pay-per-views, premium live events. We have wrestler interviews on occasion, Q&A, roundtable discussions, and we host a roundup of the week, complete, not this week probably, with a bloody good quiz, of course, on WhatCulture. Michael Hamflett, I hope you like heat angles.
I do.
I hope you like a heat angle on virtually every segment of a show, knowing full well that heat ain't what it used to be.
Yeah, I was just going to say I'm not a massive fan of cold heat angles because a couple of them were.
Bit of an oxymoron.
Yeah. Look, this wasn't a good 2
hours.
It's
a pretty bad time, to be honest. Pretty bad time.
They are progressing with the big story, as they should. I'm going to keep going back and referencing this because it was audio on. I really want people to listen to it. The awakening of the one big problem, the real disturbing truth about the Jon Moxley story, as repeated over and over again in our Collision review, which you can still get wherever you listen to your podcast. It feels like there's no overlap between the shows sometimes, so it's absolutely fine. It just kept hitting me on this one. It just kept hitting me.
Don't wake.
Don't wake. Moxley wanted to wake. I think a lot of AEW fans understandably wanted to wake. Down the line, elements of it might wake. Right now, it feels like it can't wake.
It doesn't feel like it can work at all. Let's get straight into it.
All right.
Let's get straight into it because I think I was annoyed and I cringed within minutes.
Okay.
Which is not ideal at all. So we open up with Jon Moxley looking cool, as he always does, in the desert. His latest metaphor is about a moth and how that can change, and think of the change you could be. And
they're great, these, aren't they?
Huh?
They're great.
They're great.
I wish they were for a different story because they're always great.
They're cruel.
Yeah.
They're cruel. They are cruelly good because, again, with sensational wordplay and use of visual imagery, Jon Moxley gets his point across. The point just happens to be, I think, a little bit pointless and untenable. He is picked up by the rest of the new Blackpool Combat Club. What are they called? I don't even know what they're called. What are they called?
Said greater good again this week, didn't he? Said, I'm doing it for the greater good.
I mean, that's lame. I would like them, you know what? I would like them just not have a stable name because then it becomes a bit wrestling-y.
Yeah, maybe that's the point. Maybe he's thought about that, and that's why he's not naming them. Yeah.
We'll see. Anyway, so they drive off from the desert to, presumably, the location of Dynamite, but guess what? It ain't going to be so easy for them. Because standing outside of the arena, equipped with weapons, one of which is just nunchucks, by John Silver, is... so we've got Top Flight, Action Andretti, Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, and Satnam Singh. The Butcher, the Dark Order, and some of the conglomeration, and they're all, well, a lot of them are armed with weapons. And I don't know how many arenas you've been to, Hamflett. Mm-hmm. I've been to quite a few in my time. I've been quite privileged to go. Too many. But my understanding of those experiences is that it's not just one door, right? Oh. There are several entrances that are sort of, linked to the seating area that you're going to be in. How do they just stand outside of... Did they stand outside of the front of the arena or where the back... Surely I'm being a dickhead. The backstage.
It was the backstage parking lot, wasn't it?
Yeah. So where where the wrestlers are expected to arrive.
Yeah. We avoid F words wherever possible when Wilborn's off because we're not as canny at doing the censoring here. But I'm going to have to utter one that you've been hitting for several weeks now. Frontline ass looking AEW roster. This was the week. They
look like such dorks.
And you have to have the first line of defense kind of be losers because the idea is you're supposed to be separating the people who can make a difference.
Yeah, it's Garcia, Cassidy, and Private Party, and Darby. Those are the guys you're meant to be taking seriously. Yeah. And other than Cassidy here, you're not going to get them in that sort of... You're not going to put them in this sort of situation.
There was a bit, and I don't know if this is the fault of the wrestlers they chose, because obviously, I think you kind of have to do it this way. We talked about, what is it exactly Jon Moxley is fighting for other than...
Fighting for. Wicked bitter.
He's fighting for bast. Other than he's a heel, so he can be a liar. He can say that he wants something for the betterment of AEW, but really it's for the betterment of him. And that's all right now that he's a heel. But right now, the story kind of relies on him saying, it's terrible, start AEW again, and we're going to do it in my image, we're going to get it right this time. If he's saying it's terrible, and a bunch of other metrics support it, like half-empty buildings, poor ratings, creative, like kind of feels like it's just on autopilot, then the wrestlers that are fighting for AEW defending a bad product, like they're like, no, we're happy with that sort of crap business in the toilet AEW. Leave it alone. Like it continues to reveal flaws within itself.
Yeah.
And I don't think they necessarily think about that. I think they think about what an invasion storyline, what a big company takeover storyline looks like. And we've got to do the things that these stories historically look like to make it familiar to the viewers and help like wrestling fans understand what it is they're doing. And I get that. But increasingly you are seeing people independent of one another, not just idiots on the internet like us, like everybody that's like passing comment on Dynamite or on this story, picking up different individual problems that they're finding independent of anything else. It's just, oh, you know what? Yeah, that's good, but that's all right. But, and it's just to keep revealing themselves about this story. Moxley's inability to like narrow down into one fairly simplistic vision. What makes, like, what is it right now that would make you all right with Jon Moxley? Like, if I was an AEW wrestler, I'd want to know, well, what's not going to get my neck broken by him? If you asked him, I don't think he'd have an answer for you.
Yeah. And it's like, not being funny, but like, say John Silver, for example, why is he standing up for it?
Yeah.
He's been shunted to Ring of Honor. He can't even sniff the singles pay-per-view matches that people were really wanting him to have 4 years ago.
And he's like, oh, maybe Johnny Hungy was silly. I want to speak to Jon Moxley about changing myself.
But no, he's fighting for the soul of AEW, man. You know how everyone's got like
his
a different
favorite Ninja Turtle weapon.
Yeah. You know how you can realize how deeply flawed this is when, as you've just said, people can pick a different logic gap or plot hole with it or whatever. I've got another one. I think if you can really, really unpick the logic all too easily here, as we've done basically since this was launched, I think the execution of it is bad as well. I think it doesn't look good and it doesn't look proper. I was talking before about how, other than Marina Shafir and Moxley, I'm not getting anything really in the Collision main event finish. Yeah. These actual beatdowns, they don't look devastating. They are stamping the mat and kicking people. They're not lawn darting people like Kevin Nash did to Rey Mysterio. That visual of just those geeks armed with weapons awaiting the arrival of the BCC outside of that arena that, yet again, is far too big. Is it a case of Kevin Nash and Scott Hall were gigantic, like literal giants of blokes, and it just looked like, I think Kevin Nash himself put it, like, I think the NWO might be too good for its own good almost immediately when people bought that them two alone, armed with baseball bats, could just chin the entire WCW roster, right? Mm-hmm. But that was at least effective because they looked capable of actually taking over. And I don't know, it just felt like Nitro filmed it a lot better. I don't think it's as well filmed at all. It just looks like a wrestling angle, you know? It, like, the thing about the NWO is that it looked and was sold throughout the entire thing as an actual we are in trouble disruption. Yeah. This just, to me, scans visually as such a fake pro wrestling angle.
And ultimately, if there is going to be a bit of a with us or against us element to this, we're going to quite quickly end up in the Alliance WWF thing, aren't we? Where there's an Alliance tag above heel's name. Kurt Angle turns heel. No, he doesn't. He joins the Alliance. That's how the entire company was divvied up into at that point. And I think that's...
It's not a good business model, is it?
No.
2001 WWF.
Yeah, killed every town. Realistically, that's where this has to end up, right? If you're not... You can get inadvertently sort of trapped in your own intra-AEW fooed, but at some point or another, when the rubber hits the road, you've got to make a choice and be like, right.
Not really.
You don't have to, but this is kind of how they're laying it
out. They won't be asked to.
No.
There'll be people who just do stuff on their own islands pretending this isn't even happening when it's meant to be a great threat. The biggest existential threat to AEW, our beloved AEW, a lot of the wrestlers just act and perform as if it's not happening.
Yeah, that's it. Like, these wrestlers saw Mox's coming warning as a graphic and thought, we need to get together and get our nunchucks. Jay White didn't, and like Mark Briscoe didn't, and on and on that goes. You know what I mean? There were people in Queen Aminata didn't.
Yeah.
So I would just, I'm working. Like Adam Cole didn't.
Yeah.
Like he was there at Wrestle Dream in the last segment to establish that he's one of the baby faces, but already he's like, yeah,
I've got my own stuff going on.
I got the boys back from the Undisputed Elite, and I don't know, House of Black might be a bit. So I'm gonna have to do something about that. Like, it is weird that can just be. You know, Mox is coming, right? I just really stood off. I got a lot of paperwork to do with MJF.
Yeah, I mean, it's just untenable. It's already untenable, and that's what sucks about it, because you know that this is going to go on. They might tweak it. AEW has sought feedback, and like reoriented itself.
The story is
as a
response to
result.
feedback, isn't it? They're trying to just start again. Like this is a John Moxley. I'll fix this. Pitch, isn't it? Like,
but like. The worst thing is knowing that it's just not good. It's just not good. It's deeply flawed. It's the knowledge of, I mean, Darby ain't winning at World's End, you know? No. Well, you know, like, that's the earliest he can win it, because they're clearly positioning Orange Cassidy as John Moxley's Full Gear opponent. Mm-hmm. So the absolute earliest, Darby Allin, the big objective here is Darby Allin wins the big one, restores AEW's soul, right? The absolute latest that's going to happen is at the end of December, unless they completely abandon it, which I just can't see them doing, right? You can basically write off, well, you know, you've got your big, if there's even such a thing, if it's even possible, your big powers back calendar, and you can cross out, imagine it as a calendar, and you like do the X marks through each date, like 2025. Yeah. You might as well write the freaking year off, all go home.
Here's one for you then. Little prediction ski. Do you think we get to the point, speaking of like ripping off things that were bad business, are we going to get to the point where we have an NWO sold out for Moxley's group?
Do we run
a pay-per-view now that there's monthlies and you kind of got more? No? There's not going to be
absolutely not, because they don't want this to happen. I don't know why they're doing it if they don't want it to happen. They do not want to do a full-fledged takeover angle, and you have to go all in on something like this.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just get a little pedantic.
Not that I think that show would be good, by the way.
Snarky arseholes like us just saying, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. Tony Khan wants to do this, and he doesn't want to do it at the same time. It's the exact same thing with the Elite. So you're not going to get that. Imagine him saying that I didn't promote an acclaimed AEW pay-per-view. You have a conniption fit.
Yeah. I mean, but the matches would be solid to good to great.
Anyway, Jesus Christ. I've talked enough about this, and you have to talk about it later, so I'm going to talk about something else, and that is the start of the show. Proper. Daddy Magic, Matt Menard commentates. I quite liked him.
Yep,
just throws away a mild curse word. Piss and bastard, and I just like him. I've got some time for
more
him.
of a like for Taz than Jeff Jarrett, and that's all right. You can mix the match like
that. Is indeed right. Hangman Page starts the show. Tony Schiavone interviews him. He talks about how he lost to Switchblade Jay White at Wrestle Dream. And then he's about to talk about the whole snafu with Christian Cage last week, at which point Hangman Page just grabs the microphone. He says that he nearly ended Juice Robinson's career. He's going to get after Jay White or whatever. And he beat up Austin Gunn so badly that he can't even remember his brother's name. Somebody pointed out on Twitter that's a really nice callback to him saying that he couldn't remember his kid's name.
Yeah.
Which is a nice... Like, Hangman Page is still thinking about this business. He's still fighting for this title. He still remembers. He can still book himself and remember himself what actually means something. So that's good. At which point, Colton Gunn tries to attack him. He's successful insofar as he sends him scurrying behind the barricade. He then tries to do this crossbody block over the barricade, but Hangman Page moves. He's about to take off the belt, choke Gunn out, and then White and Robinson make the save. JY basically says that you're never as good as me. You might be able to work your way into some kind of plunder matches and say it like this with fire and weapons, but in this very ring, I can beat you on a pure level in a pure match. And then Page, I will see you real soon. Just take care of that leg.
This is all right, this.
Yeah, I mean, that's a thing. Sorry, talk.
No, they're using win-loss records the way that you should, which is to ultimately increase animosity, not just write the foo-head off. Their match at Wrestle Dream was fantastic.
Yes.
So they've got the like the credibility behind the words about going again, and Jay White, especially as a babyface, which I think he's having like mixed fortunes with, to be honest, but he can still be arrogant and be a good guy. It's also not the worst way to set up a stipulation match, and I would also watch that. They are ultimately, these two, selling me things with conviction that I am willing to buy. Like in Hangman Page and Jay White, I've got no reason to think this won't be excellent if they run it back. There doesn't seem, this is going to sound like I'm contradicting myself, but I'm not. There doesn't actually seem to be a lot of heat to the rivalry.
No.
But everything they're saying is true. So maybe this is one of them situations where it was impossible for Hangman Page to have something that felt as powerful as Swerve Strickland as his next couple of things, and it's all still Hangman Page is probably going to beat him in a violent like finale to all of this, a weapons-based thing that yet again shows him just further embracing his darkest side. And Jay White couldn't have possibly been ready for what he's unleashed, and all that stuff on the night I think will be great. There's not like a massive amount of spark between them, but I think that's one of the reasons why the Wrestle Dream match didn't feel that hot going in, and then was so amazing on the night. It's like, Jesus, these are two of the best around right now. So I got a lot of faith in the eventual outcomes, but just it was only all right.
It's only all right, and I would suggest that it was only all right because this is the sort of natural byproduct of bulking up that pay-per-view calendar.
Yeah.
A lot of feuds must continue. There's no sense of finality. Add that to the list of like 50 plus problems AEW is sort of encountering as it evolves. I just didn't need this to continue. I'll happily take another match because they've got incredible chemistry. They've had 2 matches in AEW that were both awesome, but it's very much a case of I'll take it. I won't do cartwheels for it, but I will take it. The first match, Shelton Benjamin going over Sammy Guevara. It's the similar layout structure to last week, in which Sammy Guevara uses his agility and his aerial game to just about survive Shelton Benjamin in a really cool spot that I liked, as opposed to the one that didn't go particularly well. I can't remember which move it is, but Sammy Guevara surprises Shelton Benjamin with a move. Shelton Benjamin kicks out at 1, and MVP is still pissed off that he even got a 1 count on him. Yeah. So the second that's Shelton, can you remember the move or not? I mean, I'm the host. I should be doing this.
No, it was
Adam Wilborn spectacular at his job.
I'm picturing the kick out, and I'm trying to remember what came before it, and I can't.
Either way, it's a move.
Yeah.
It's a move. Shelton Benjamin kicks out at 1, even though it was it's ostensibly this really impressive feat of just invincibility or whatever, endurance, just I cannot be put down. MVP is still pissed off. You got a 1 count on you.
Yeah.
Stop playing with your food. Finish him right now. We get the spot after, some aerials, but then the power game, and look at the size of Shelton Benjamin. You can totally believe it. Ends up just scuppering Sammy Guevara's chances. They do the springboard super kick spot that everyone knew they were going to do. There's no axe handle. There's no attempt at a crossbody block. It's a flying nothing, and it pisses me off every single time. Every single time. I get Bret Hart about the flying nothing. I really, really do. It's even, the original was a flying nothing, let's not we forget.
Yeah.
This was not as good in more than one way, which is a shame because they kind of booked a match for it, I suspect. 1, the arc isn't anywhere near as long.
Yeah.
The connection isn't as clean. The noise isn't as oh my God, he's got CTE, The production and the direction wasn't good enough here. They film it at a close-up at the corner of the ring that is closest to the viewer. So it could have been a great leap, but you couldn't really tell.
Yeah.
What they did with the infamous, famous Shawn Michaels, Shelton Benjamin spot was they panned out. They had Shelton Benjamin do it from the opposite side of the ring. It looks like he's leaping from the horizon into the frame, becomes massive, and then pinpoint accuracy, bang. This is just wasn't the production and the direction meant to get amazing 2 years ago, and it's just not. It's not even Kevin Dunn's losing its standard.
Yeah.
It's far away from New Japan standard. It's simply not very good.
I was kind of glad it wasn't the finish.
No, the finish, that isn't the finish. He does another super kick and then the exploder, and then that's your 1, 2, 3. I would describe this as a diminished return from last week that I still enjoyed because I'm still shocked by how awesome Shelton Benjamin looks, and I'm broadly very, very optimistic about the Hurt Syndicate.
they've done the right thing with Shelton Benjamin, and that's ultimately. I've not got a great deal to add to that description of the super kick, which is what the match existed for. It stripped the distance out of it completely. So it stripped the ultimately the distance of the jump is as important as the connection of the super kick, and you lost half of it at least. I would say you actually lost, because you're kind of viewing the super kick itself from almost behind Sammy Guevara. You're not seeing boot against chin.
I mean, I love a thrust. I bury the Usos constantly for, like, they just sort of lean backwards, slap their leg. What I loved about Shelton Benjamin's super kick last week, converse to the Usos, is that you could see the thrust. You made a great point there, because I miss seeing that
extra step.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
It was you have to almost watch it 2 or 3 times back to understand why you like it more than your regular super kick. And if he had that here, you wouldn't have been able to make it out anyway, just because of how it was shot. And then obviously beat him in the end. Yeah, they've made a good fist of Shelton Benjamin feeling like a credible opponent for Swerve Strickland, and that's like mission accomplished, really, because a few weeks ago MVP arrives. And all of us just talk about, right, Bobby Lashley. And instead, there's been a very economical run for Shelton that, to your point about the 1 count and just about how Shelton in general kind of has like quite a cold exterior, that character is what's going to help Bobby Lashley, not just a pin eater, not just a guy for the stable gauntlets that they like to book. This has got its own, the Shelton Benjamin character now has its own identity. I don't think the match is going to matter that much, truthfully. I don't think I was wrong in my cynicism, but he's put a little bit of extra something into this character, because I think he's been like rewarded with a run like befitting what fans invested in him. Like the Shelton Benjamin that would have signed to on his own to an AEW contract would have been that guy, mini run, off you go into the Collision cycle. This is not that. When Bobby Lashley debuts, Shelton will still be a big part of the act, even if he's lost to Swerve.
That's the thing. I wasn't like dazzled by this match like I was last week, but nor did it diminish my interest in the big picture. Yeah. So, a decent night for all of that. As a backstage segment, Mariah May, she's walking out of the locker room with a suitcase. She's then questioned by Renee Paquette of, like, the show's just started, why are you leaving? And she went, no, it's not my stuff. I quite like this. I thought it was quite good. It turns out to be Anna Jay's gear, and Mariah May is tossing it out because she does not deserve to be in the same locker room. Obviously, Anna Jay is defeated Mariah May at Battle of the Belts. This is a gotten to response. Anna Jay then is naturally furious, attempts to beat up Mariah May. The fight is broken up by Christopher Daniels. And I've got something to say about Christopher Daniels, but what have you got to say about all of this first?
Not bad. A little bit.
Cute little idea.
Yeah, a little bit of a story. A little bit of heat between the two of them. Mariah May wins the rematch realistically, but like, how many times have we just... I know I'm comparing it to something that is not that much of a standard, but how many times would you have just seen Mariah May versus Anna Jay contenders match? Mariah May wins anyway. Yeah. Anna Jay's kind of like... This is how this Moxley thing could still work. Anna Jay is at this point kind of a beloved AEW lifer. So Mariah May is somebody that could still be presented as a bit of an interloper. She comes in, she sidles up to Toni Storm with a view of taking a title. Her plan is successful. She's got no, I don't want to say soul of AEW or anything, but she's got no real...
There's enough of that there later.
Yeah. She's got no real like respect for his business. Anna Jay is somebody that we've kind of seen like go through the ringer as a wrestler in AEW does. And I just think this is a slightly different way to like build these two up rather than just, she's been kicking around but she loses in the 6-week cycle. I encourage this.
Yeah, no.
And as small like crumb of praise as that maybe is, I encourage this because there should always be more of it.
Yeah.
Work towards something. Even if this is not the best version of something, work towards it.
So I was in a good mood because I liked the little attention to detail of the suitcase rather than just have Mariah May say, oh, it was a fluke, doesn't belong, fight, end scene, 20 seconds. I get... Like, I know it's just a bit of a bland character, and fundamentally, I hate the idea of an authority figure. I get so, like, irrationally, unreasonably irritated by Christopher Daniels.
I thought I was a CM Punk guy.
Like, there is no reason for him to be there.
No.
If there was a reason, they've just abandoned and stopped caring about the reason. I think it's meant to be that he's replaced Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega's never... a freaking on-screen authority figure.
You want to go and join the gang outside that are ready to stop these people taking over your show? No, thanks. I'm going to break up some fights inside.
Yes. Oh, my God. And what really pisses me off about it, right, is that how thick can you be? How thick can you be, AEW, Tony Khan, whoever, right, when your reputation, not in tatters, but it's taken a battering over the last 18 months, maybe even longer, and you are now a distant number 2, and worse still, you've done the WCW 99. You think you've done the TNA brackets general of, we'll just do some WWE stuff. That's the way to get WWE's fans. No, they've been brainwashed, no offense, to accept no imitations. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The WWE fan just thinks of everybody else because their marketing's incredible. I'm praising WWE
I like
for
Pepsi. I like Pepsi.
Yeah.
Coca-Cola's Coca-Cola.
But you know what I mean?
There's time for Pepsi sometimes.
Yeah, but they don't think that's just Coke or nothing. Pepsi's the devil. Pepsi's fake, imitating crap, you know? Why would you get a bald general manager just drawing clear parallels? He's the Wish Adam Pearce.
Yeah.
And you're meant to be the company that understands the memes and the discourse and the you know, what he serves no purpose other than to make AEW feel lesser than WWE.
And like the one that you always go to, because it was, I don't think many people even spotted it, and it was like Kenny Omega would do stuff that was for you and you alone. Like we were talking in the back earlier, like the comparison of that line when he did that, and it was Tony Schiavone going,
I love that so much.
Like that as a parody of how WWE framed all of their Michael Cole like sort of interactions. I don't think people even dislike like Postman Pierce that much. I think they're perfectly fine with the role he plays on Raw most weeks.
What? So WWE fans really like him?
Yeah, so you've got like this Christopher Daniels. Once upon a time, that would have been, we're isolating a little thing that in the locker room we take the piss out of because they do it and the fans don't even respect it. Like now it's like, you know who we're going to go for? This like general manager who broadly people are fine with. Yeah. That'll show them. Like I
don't even think it's parody. I just think it's nepotism.
Yeah, they're not seeing that they're referencing something that...
Which just makes you think like they are blind to actual good criticism and what the problems are. It just feels like, in microcosm, Christopher Daniels just embodies a lot of the wider, broader issues I have with this entire deal.
Does he still
like... This entire wrestling industry.
Does he still not like
which
the Elite?
AEW has just greedily had for itself.
Is he particularly pissed off with the Elite anymore? Is that his beat?
They did. Deputy Dan.
Lieutenant Daniels.
You're Lieutenant Daniels.
There you go.
I don't know. The last interacted them to when with Private Party ahead of Wrestle Dream.
Okay.
This time he just doesn't really do. He's just there sometimes with some other people, and it's
just does stuff.
Just doesn't do the right stuff, as he said. Though there's a much larger problem in AEW, and that is your production staff's getting beat up. Your legends are getting hospitalized.
Half the roster's in the car park.
Yeah.
Got decent.
Half the you're getting their asses kicked. God, it's pathetic. Anyway, next up, good segue.
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, I'm going to make a broad point. I don't think I wrote this down in my notes.
Okay.
It's a little bit of. I shouldn't be buzzing about this. It's a decent little bit of administration and basics throughout the show. It was wild. At some points, it just felt like they're getting their together.
Yeah.
With like putting over Camille via and Statlander stuff via video package. A lot of video packages and advertising matches for 2 weeks' time. And they try to give you the impression through, they even advertised on national television their live event schedule. Mm-hmm. Stuff like that was like, it just felt like a little checklist of, no, we know, we're listening, we're going to advertise some stuff in advance. We are going to try and build interest in some of the characters that you might have just been expected to care about automatically. We're coming to your town and we want you to come and we're going to give you a great show. Just a little bit of that they're trying. Who did they hire? Because this was a bit of a... Did you notice this a little bit?
It was noticeable. Again, I feel like it's just listening to feedback. I honestly do. I think that if you're going to... It's not going to work every time. And obviously at this point, they're wells too poisoned with a million other voices. But AEW, it is wild to even think it now, isn't it? Like it was so much the listening company. It was almost a case of like previously on Twitter. Like, and that was all right because for the most part, everybody was watching and just wanting to tighten up what was nearly a perfect show, and then you'd see something manifest on screen. This has been one forever, isn't it? Like the sense of poor admin, and I get your point about, well, that's not exactly the thing to get most electrified in a TV show, but like it's nuts and bolts. I think like
it just felt like they were trying to give me the impression that they had it together for once.
See your town on TV, like think about the fact, they're actually coming to my city, I'm going to go. This is going to be on the show. The fact that they're promoting stuff for, this is now the third probably week in a row, they're going to have things that are for the next 2 Dynamites.
Yeah. We've
gone a long time where AEW hasn't been that.
Yeah.
It's not going to change everything, but it was certainly something worth fixing.
Yeah, and at least like if I'm from Little Cock, Arkansas,
yes,
and I know they're coming in like late in mid-December, it's like, you know what? They look like they're planning now.
Yep.
I might get a ticket. You know, I mean, it's not like a star on the marquee, but it's something.
Yeah.
Carl Fletcher explains his actions in a promo next with Don Callis. He basically says that, I mean, we took the piss, but he did say the line, and it was the line he probably should have said where his character's at. Like, I don't want to be the next Will Ospreay at all. And he went through and said, like, you might think I'm the arsehole for turning on Will Ospreay, but really, I am just following his lead. He was sort of gifted the keys to the New Japan Kingdom as the top foreigner once Kenny Omega left. Look how he treated Kenny Omega in the aftermath. Who else did he talk about? Sorry, let's get my notes.
It was Ospreay, Omega, and Okada.
He was like saying like Okada brought him in. Like apparently Okada on the books had said about Will Ospreay, don't tell him because he's not got his head screwed on, but he's obviously going to be the best wrestler in the world in about 3 or 4 or 5 years' time. Don't tell him this.
Okada could barely hide it in New Japan, could he?
Yeah.
Like, I'll wrestle him again.
Yeah,
let's have one more and become like legacy rivals. Yeah.
And then Fletcher mentions, well, look how Ospreay treated Okada in response to, you know, getting him through the door. And he basically said, like, he doesn't want to be anything like him, and that's why he attacked him. And then the promo ends. He also says, look, I want a match with you next week or a match with you soon. I don't care if you're not medically cleared. Look, not to step on the dick of the preview, but he's going to beat him, and then Will Ospreay's going to beat him in full gear. But I hope it gets, I hope it gets stepped up.
Yeah,
because I haven't really seen Ospreay. Well, I've seen Ospreay in a plunder match. It just happened to suck ass, and it was that New Japan War Games.
Yeah,
right. It was just happened to be way too long.
Like looking at it, but then I got really bored.
Yeah, it's the same. Every single promotion does this. It needs to. I just don't understand how it's caught on.
Yeah.
People like it. Obviously, it gets rated.
Outside the ring cage thing was interesting. For
a
few minutes.
But then they just did every other match. It didn't matter what the structure looked like. Anyway, I want to see Ospreay in a proper, like an unsanctioned Texas death match sort of situation. Yeah. Anyway, so I think that's the way it's going to go. But Carl Fletcher closes the promo by saying, "I don't want to be anything like you." And he's got the same haircut. He's like, nah, not doing that. And shaves his head off. Well, his hair off, not his head. He shaves his hair off.
That'll learn you.
I would describe this before
try to drop me on my neck when I've cut it off.
I would describe this, before I get your thoughts, as a good, not great, but composed WWE Explains Actions promo. It went on a bit, but I thought his delivery was good. I'm never going to confuse him for a great promo, but this is his first proper time, national TV. You've got your big Kyle Fletcher promo segment. A lot of pressure on him, and I thought he did really well.
Same.
And I like the story.
Yeah. No, again, I wasn't particularly electrified, but I kind of think they got everything right here. The haircut was a strong visual. And just a nice idea. Everything that's been, a lot of people are talking about Kyle Fletcher's look, and it's about the haircut, the body, that like from a year since Aussie Open, but going back to when he kind of was making his way on the Indies.
Curtains and no definition to this.
A transformation, and like this is the next part of that because it's nicely tied to the Ospreay element of the story. But no, I thought he showed real poise here because it wasn't so much. Yeah, it definitely wasn't like The Rock being given the microphone for the first time, just knocking it out the park or anything. But there was a point where the fans were starting to harass him.
And he's just like,
he riffed that thing about like, nah, Don Callis has got me all the TV time I need.
Yeah.
I thought, well, that's definitely on the fly because you've kind of had to come back with something.
So that's what a promo is.
Yeah, and I thought he dealt with that really well.
Have to learn to cut one, kid.
You got maximize your minutes. I think they've given you 2 minutes. So you're going to have to figure out the double maximizing with a one-liner. I thought he did a really good. I'm not taking the piss out of it. We have a laugh on the podcast. We trivialise everything by accident, but I'm not trivialising this. He had a very good night. I
I was impressed.
Completely buy into the story, the reasoning, the rationale, all that sort of stuff. Partly because you could see it coming and loads of it was like signposted because wrestling has to do that sometimes. And the matches will be terrific.
The matches will be terrific.
Yeah. And not just good. This is the point. I'm not just saying like, that's a good match, great way to stay in shape. Like these will be great.
Yeah,
There's evidence that these will be great.
There's precedent for these to be great as well. One more thing. I didn't think this was a great promo, but I watched it and thought one day he could actually become a great promo. Mm-hmm. That was my prevailing impression. One more thing. I like the detail of him pointing all of this out about Ospreay. In the back of your head, I started to think, oh, maybe Ospreay's a dickhead. But then Ospreay's made a big deal of saying, I was an immature little prick, little bellend years ago in my life. I almost feel disgusted by my past self. And I'm here in AEW to basically just be a much better dude now that he's signed full time. And a lot of that, like, is blurred lines because of how he conducted himself on Twitter and allegedly on the British independent scene.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like a hatchet job where it's like, you're kind of saying too much about Ospreay here because Ospreay has been saying all along, hold my hands up. I just thought this was like genuinely quite sophisticated given it's these two.
Is there anything to the idea that Kenny Omega being like name checked directly? It's basically this sort
They're doing it a couple of times now.
Evolution of the wrestler sort of thing where you go from like Omega to Ospreay to Fletcher. Obviously that's going to help Kyle Fletcher because you're putting his name in lights with those two. But it helps Ospreay too to be thought of as this Kenny. And are they kind of tacitly really trying to big up the spectre of Kenny Omega for the day that he returns? Not so much for like involvement in this story, but just the idea that Kenny Omega is this bigger than life figure.
That
can save the soul of AEW.
Oh, shut up, man.
No, but as a
life, you just ruined my life.
As a baby face that is like so much better than all these dogs that can't get it done. It's like, you forgot about John Moxley, this guy, and like he embodies whatever the hell he wants to embody about AEW, and it's still better than you. Yeah. Like they are building that like aura and that legacy, and that like he is like the biggest guy that if only he was here, everything would be fine. Like, it doesn't hurt for his return, does it? Like, it
doesn't hurt.
The optimism about him having a singles run rather than doing like wacky tags or being stuck to the Young Bucks or whatever. Like, this feels like you could actually take Kenny Omega in a different direction from all of them.
He's going to feud with Jack Perry in the Elite when he comes back. In a singles match with Jack Perry and against the Bucks with, well, apparently Hiroshi Tanahashi. That's because he set out the challenge for Wrestle Dynasty on January the 5th, Tokyo Dome. And the Young Bucks appeared at a New Japan show. Yeah. It was a King of Pro Wrestling.
I think so.
And basically said, we're coming back January the 5th. So it's going to be Omega and Tanahashi versus the Young Bucks. And it was reported or aggregated by Dave in last week's Observer that Kota Ibushi has said that 2 or 3 months and Kenny's back and the timeline sort of fit there. Just hurry up. Hurry up. Gotham needs you. He gets this is good. Again, another thing that AEW has been sort of accused of not doing, where you have got a collaborative partnership with another promotion. Why don't you show highlights of how your stars are incredible in these other promotions? Like, we barely saw any of Takeshita in G1. She had a weekly Here's Takeshita kicking ass update, for example. But they did that here with the footage from the Maple Leaf Pro show. And who challenges him here? Ricochet.
Puts over Ricochet, I think, because he's actually said, I'll follow you around. It doesn't matter to me where we have the match, but we'll have it. But the fact that it was in Maple Leaf Pro actually got Ricochet over somebody that follows through and believes what he's talking about.
So basically, Ricochet, again, in the backstage segment, says he's after Takeshita. So that looks like the Full Gear direction. He's got a match on Rampage.
Hurt Syndicate.
Yes. I'm not very good at this.
No, but like they want...
Tell the listeners and the viewers what happened.
He's the latest to get the card in his top pocket. MVP complimented his suit and said, I
like that because they used to wear suits in WWE.
Right. I'll say this now.
It feels like Takeshita's going to beat Ricochet, and Ricochet could feud with or join the Hurt Syndicate.
I want them to be baby faces. I think they're the guy. Like, who doesn't love the Hurt Syndicate already?
I think they're great.
Like, they're dropping, like, what's better than, like, dust? Hurt squirt on loads of wrestlers right now. And I think everybody gets excited about this wrestler joined up with the Hurt Syndicate, and it doesn't even exist as a stable yet, right? It's MVP recruiting for a theoretical one that is obviously going to be like promoting Bobby Lashley as the front of it, as the real contender to like a world title down the line. But right now, everybody feels cooler through interacting with them.
Yeah.
Like Leo Rush has just taken a beating off of Shelton Benjamin, and yet...
Your career could be made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Acclaimed, for better and worse this week especially, but the Acclaimed getting the change they so desperately need. The buzz that we felt when it was like, Mercedes Money could just get a restart by being part of the Hurt Syndicate. I think already, other than the fact that they've been programmed with Swerve, and they were kind of nasty to Nana at the pay-per-view, they're just really beloved. Like, people just like the Hurt Syndicate, and the idea of it. MVP's cutting these promos. Pivot, if this isn't
MVP's face remains to be brilliant, by the way.
Yeah.
So smug and above it all.
Shelton, until next week when he fights Swerve, has just been getting pops. People are just glad to see Shelton Benjamin kicking ass. Just pivot and have them be the baby faces that can stop Moxley's lot. They're more credible than the guys in the car park.
It's not happening because Swerve's the baby face. But I see where you're getting from. No, but it's going to be the easiest turn of all time when they decide to do it. Like one of the easiest face turns of all time. Up next to build up the... Checking my notes. The third major heel stable in the first hour here. Brian Cage and Lance Archer have a squash match in the win.
Lance. The chokeslam powerbombs. Bit of me. Like that. Can't not like that. Nonsense from the past. But,
second early 90s staple.
But yeah, you know. I got nothing else to add on it. Like
I will say that potentially if they're building up a heel team, might indicate that Private Party are going to win the titles. But I'm going to save that. You can talk about whatever you want. I'm going to save all that chat till next week, I think. But we'll get to it later in the show. We go back to the car park, right? Oh my God, I hate this all so much. And they all look like complete dorks. They all look like complete losers with weapons who no one believes in because they've been jobbed out for years, most of these, right? Satnam Singh, when he wakes up at night, Satnam Singh, who's had about, 8 matches.
Yeah.
Do you think he wakes up at night in a cold sweat going, oh God, I just remember what John Moxley's doing to AEW. Do you know what I mean? You think Satnam Singh wakes up in a cold sweat and thinks, oh God, that bastard.
The one in a billion himself.
John Silver, who again I think he's doing stuff in ROH.
Yeah.
Who's to know? I'm sure there are records of it happening. Do you reckon he's like...
See what John Silver's cage match is looking like at the moment.
Do you think John Silver is like... You know, he probably walks around going, I probably had a good 4 years ago. What happened?
Yeah.
Maybe he loves it,
He's
you know?
34. He's got so much time left as well. Yeah. You'll like this, Sidge. I think the Dark Order might be in line for a title shot because they defeated the Iron Savages on Ring of Honor.
Right, okay, so they're outside the parking lot.
They lost to the Conglomeration a couple of weeks ago because if you recall, they were kind of heels till all this started. And then it was like, we need some baby faces to kick ass.
To get their asses kicked.
Asses kicked.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, right. So, presumed producer / road agent, Chuck Taylor, formerly of the Best Friends.
Yes.
Sort of walks up to the throng. He walks up to the front line and the new blood but baby faces, the front line, the Alliance. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the Alliance, isn't it?
Well, they're kind of neither really because like the WWF were the baby faces, but they were never booked to lose.
Yeah.
This would be like the friggin' APA's lot, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, we need some jobbers because you've got like your proper... There's The Rock and there's The Undertaker and it's like, we ain't goddamn jobbers. Like you can tell him Bradshaw, Farouk and Haku to look like jobbers. I ain't selling for Sean O'Ware. Jane Rack.
Who the hell are they?
I ain't selling for Canyon. I'll steal his moves, but I ain't selling for Canyon.
No. Anyway, so Chuck
Diamond Dallas Page. Tell me how many diamonds you ever earned.
So Chuck Taylor goes, come on, boys, come on. You're needed. I don't know why, but you're needed. It's Mark Briscoe's title defense up next. Come on, Kyle O'Reilly and Orange Cassidy.
Go on, it's work.
Come and do something. I don't know what they did. And then, so it's like, right, okay, well, they're needed for backup.
Yeah. Jericho's got the learning tree, Sidge, so there'd be a numbers disadvantage otherwise.
Isn't that, shouldn't Chuck Taylor be partial in his new role?
Yeah.
Shouldn't Chuck Taylor be partial in his new role as an AEW producer who's about to now interfere with the Ring of Honor match? It's a bit of a mess. Anyway, so Kyle O'Reilly and Orange Cassidy go, right, sorry, guys, we have to leave.
Yeah.
Even though there's an existential threat to the company, we have to leave. Why? We're not going to do anything, but we have to leave. Anyway, so before the ROH title match, which they needed, even though they don't do anything during it, spoiler alert, Chuck Taylor, with the most soap opera, like WWE-ass dialogue, says, hey, Orange Cassidy, here's 2 sentences on our entire history together. You know this information because we've had the history. These morons, these jerk-offs, they thick, so they need to be reminded of
like,
it.
Can I have a quiet word over on national television, please?
Yeah.
Like that sort of like wrestling thing. It's like, I'm going to borrow you for a second. The camera and the lighting's coming with us, so...
Obviously, you know our shared history because we shared it together.
Is it Sami Zayn and Jey Uso by the...
Yeah.
I mean, you by the trucks. What with all the 6 guys that are filming us? Yeah, over it.
Yeah, we don't look too conspicuous.
Roman can't find out.
Honestly, man.
Moxley's not going to find out that me and you go back a long way. Well, if he's got a phone in the van, he probably is.
Previously, in Best Friends. So they go through the history, and then he says something to the effect of, it's time for you to nut up or shut up, kid. And, he's like, maybe. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'm scared. I don't know. I'm trivializing it, but I did quite like that until this episode, which sucked ass. Chris Jericho defeats Mark Briscoe in a ladder war. I would describe it more as a ladder battle.
Yeah, it was a ladder match.
It was a ladder match for the Ring of Honor World title. People were pissed. The basic story told, and it's told to you again and again and again and again by the increasingly stupefied commentary team. Another problem.
What choice have they got there,
I know. The commentators can only be as good as the booking. Yeah. They basically tell the story of Mark Briscoe could kick Chris Jericho's ass. He's the babyface, ergo he's better. That's the logic on which pro wrestling operates. But he's clouded by fury through what Chris Jericho has been saying about Jay Briscoe. He could have climbed when the first thing he does, it's pretty cool how they go this early, is just smashes Jericho through 2 pretty conveniently set up tables at ringside. It's said by the commentary team then and there, go on, Mark, just climb. But it's like, nah, you know why he's not going to do that. He wants to get some bloody vengeance. He actually bleeds when Chris Jericho hits him face first with a ladder. Look, this was a ladder match. You've seen it. It wasn't so violent and understated that it stood out, nor was it that spectacular. But Mark Briscoe ate crap with various moves that he tried and failed. Again, he looks like he has the better of it, even though Chris Jericho does sort of capitalize on the fact that Mark Briscoe's fighting with his heart and not his head. But just when Mark Briscoe starts to get it all together, and there's table bumps and whatever throughout, it's a ladder match, so there's always tables.
Wouldn't call it a ladder match otherwise. Stupid.
Brian Keith comes out, and you're thinking, all right, okay, that's why Chuck Taylor, who should be, impartial, has decided to get the conglomeration out the parking lot.
Mark Briscoe has stablemates that are his friends. And baby faces without those look really silly, don't they?
They do. So Brian Keith comes out, boo, Brian Keith, you're the bad guy. We hate the learning tree. But he's neutralized by the beloved Rocky Romero. I'm not being funny. Yeah. He did some awesome stuff in CMLL.
Yeah.
Last year, I think it was. He probably might still be doing it, I don't know. But he had that really acclaimed CMLL run. I watched a match he had with Volador. It was great. And he had a really good run in New Japan, but the AEW fans don't care about him, really. So we can't trivialize him.
And he wasn't in the car park.
It's good, fair fight. Yeah.
He was watching just in case.
Yeah.
He didn't need Chuck Taylor to flag it up.
It's a good, fair fight now. Oh, here comes Big Bill. Oh, this is where the conglomeration. It's like the I can't remember which Star Wars prequel it is, but you know that meme of Anakin Skywalker talking to, what you call, Padme? And it's like, insert thing, I'm going to do this for this reason, right? And then it's the blank Hayden Christensen expression, right? And it's like, you got the conglomeration out the park, and it sure did. They're going to interfere in the match to equalize the odds, right? Right? So that's good. It's a joke. It's a literal joke. And then Big Bill just helps Chris Jericho climb the ladder. And where's Orange Cassidy?
I got another thing on that in a second as well.
So this match was there was some really cool deranged spots in it. We should talk about the reaction to the finish. Roman Reigns is an incredibly popular... They're trying to do it's wrestling. I'm just drawing on a very recent example. Oh, God, no. Jericho's won. It's their kind of... Just to draw on a recent example of, the world's ended because Cody didn't finish the story.
Yeah.
The world's ended because one of our push stars won a match. It's not the same thing.
No.
It really isn't the same thing. People were pissed. I thought...
But you could sense it coming, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we called this to the letter yesterday on the preview.
Here's my take on this. Hangman Page does it. The reaction's completely different. But then the reaction is, I'm glad the heel won. And that still doesn't work. Yeah. Wrestling's fundamentally flawed in 2024. What were your takes on this? I don't think I care enough about out. This to scan is a huge disgrace.
Yeah.
And I get the feeling that Briscoe's going to win the feud. Everyone wins the feud against Chris Jericho. I don't have the energy to cry arse about a predetermined wrestling outcome when you know that Mark Briscoe is going to win because Chris Jericho loses every feud he's in.
Yeah, I've got admiration for people that care enough because it reveals a passion for sort of like the Ring of Honor World title or for Chris Jericho failing or for things that I believe to be important. But
yeah, I shouldn't say cry arse because that's mean to the people who do care.
Just passionate, but
at the same time, like, why are they doing big heavy heat stuff with Jericho? Like heavy cheap heat when your entire promotion's defined by it, you know?
Yeah, I found it really hard to be like passionate about any of this. I didn't like the first match. I think you were higher on me than the actual wrestling match they had at where again Jericho lost clean, Wrestle Dream as well, so this could have been over with.
Should have by, old AEW standards.
The booking was lazy enough to make Mark Briscoe stupid enough to sort of suffer head loss yet again, even though he should have. Jericho's second mention of Jay Briscoe following losing a match, should have had Mark Briscoe, the smart babyface world champion, be like, "No, you're not getting me again with that, mate. You got yourself a title match out of it, and I still kicked your ass. We're done." Yeah. But instead, it was like, forget about all that. I'm raging all over again, and it was like, I didn't think that was particularly effective booking of like Mark Briscoe or this story to continue it on. I was never not like sort of trapped in the reality of it, of thinking that Chris Jericho might just want the Ring of Honor title to lose it at the December Ring of Honor pay-per-view, maybe to try and elevate that as a brand if they're trying to get some money.
Well, it sure worked the first time.
That's it, right? Like, so it's just too easy, I think, to be dispassionate about the real life stuff, whether it's for Chris Jericho's own gains or whether it's he's trying to do something for Ring of Honor, whatever it is. I don't care about any of it, and I certainly am not invested in the fiction because I feel like they were allowed to do that once, did it at Wrestle Dream, delivered an effective babyface victory, and it was like, you cannot go back to that well immediately, I don't think. So I never bought into the fiction of it, which is what ultimately people are doing, right? If they care that Jericho's won this belt, then they're buying into the fiction of like, how dare he? Mark Briscoe needs to win this back, as you say, he probably will. But then there's the added element of, but Mark Briscoe's been an AEW wrestler for the past 8 months, and brilliant. This is where he should live. I don't want to have to subscribe to Honor Club to see Mark Briscoe. I just want to watch Dynamite on a Wednesday. So now that belt isn't around his waist, good. Like, because he can just be an AEW regular.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe that's just me. But I want to put over our regular listener and viewer. I was deciding which point to do it because my square face was on Dynamite all night thanks to Larry Rabb. Spyro. Check out his Twitter because he was front goddamn row and he's got a picture of Briscoe and the detritus. He's as close to him as I am at this desk right now, and it looks absolutely awesome. And it's that little reminder of like, I needed that to feel something about this match because when you're there in person, like falling off high places through tables, kicks,
it's goated.
And like that's the ultimate cheat code, and that must have been awesome for the people in the building. That's kind of all I could feel for anything. Go and check out that picture; it's great. The match was just a match, wasn't it?
Just a ladder match, really.
Does a belt matter? Does a belt?
Well, they didn't make it matter. This is my next point. This is my next rant. Oh my God.
Sidgwick, belt rant.
I don't want to be that ranting podcaster. Like, it's just a gimmick half the time. I find some of them to just be total children. But I do get annoyed, so I am going to do it. Right?
What's going on in your beans?
Telling me, not really showing me it often enough. You are telling me, though, and I'm meant to accept this, right, that the Ring of Honor world title is a world title, right? A world title. They'll pick it up and abandon it, and then they'll, if you need it to be, Eddie Kingston's just realized his lifelong dream, then it's a world title.
Yeah.
If it...
Cesaro saving the soul of Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
When he beat Jericho with a swing.
Yeah. And then, if it, sometimes it's a proper world title, like you need to take seriously as a world title. Sometimes it can just go months without being mentioned on AEW television, and you can't really care about it if it's not focused and you don't think it's a priority. I don't care if it's a Ring of Honor title. I don't care if it's a TNT title. I don't care if it's the Continental title, right? Whatever title it is, right? Make the idea that it's changed hands into some kind of bastard ceremony. Jericho's got this friggin' thing in his hands for all of 2 seconds when Tomohiro Ishii, the Stone Pitbull, comes out. And is he what did he say in the office earlier?
I could have come out a few minutes earlier and actually saved his friend. So no, actually, I'll wait till my friend's lost and then I'll claim a title shot. In the conglomeration. He comes out, right, with Rocky Romero, who has been busy running in and trying to save the day, and at no point have they crossed paths and gone, actually, we could really do with you out there, mate. Big lad. Like
Chuck Taylor didn't give him the call.
Kyle O'Reilly walked out on stage with Mark Briscoe, and he wasn't like, yeah, Big Tom, sure, the two of us can definitely carry out Big Bill. It's like, hold your fire, Kyle, because I think if Jericho gets this done, I'm number one contender. So, good day to me, Big Tom.
What really pissed me off, right, is they can't do anything right sometimes. They cannot do a friggin' thing right. They knew the reaction this was going to receive. They, in fact, courted it because they're now heat-obsessed because they've been bullied, AEW, into doing more heat stuff. Oh, it's great, I'll do it all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's wild a while, balls out, heat on this
People
program.
love the all-out, God, it's got its dank around here right now.
Yeah.
Like another pay-per-view when Orange Cassidy is going to end with, like, who can possibly save this dang awful 6-hour world? And it's like, they love that at the moment.
If you want to do some heat, aren't you? Here's an idea. Do some heat. Chris Jericho, right? The idea is it's like, you can't be beating Mark Briscoe, especially after what you said. This gives me an icky feeling, and I really would like this result to be reversed down the line, okay? Have people dwell in the feeling because this is meant to be emotion. This is meant to be emotion. And what really pisses me off about AEW right now is that they are making me sound like Eric Bischoff or one of these dickheads. I'm not trying to parrot their talking points. I'm just saying that they've inadvertently become valid, even though they were saying it in 2021 when it wasn't.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just, it's going to be a next match. It's going to be a great match with Tomohiro Ishii. No. Let me stew and get in a little bit of a grump in the moment. Have Chris Jericho, who's just done this really transgressive thing. He's beaten the dude after he's invoked the name of his brother, who died way too young, tragically, right? Have him pick up the belt. I want a drawn-out close-up of his smug face for like a good 20 seconds. Mm-hmm. I want the commentators going, well, he cheated to win and this sucks, and it's just not really in keeping with the values of Ring of Honor. Do whatever. 30 seconds of pure, I love to be an arsehole gloat from Chris Jericho, which isn't just a character thing. It isn't just an emotion thing. It's a title thing. It's meant to feel momentous. It's meant to feel like an important thing has just happened. It's meant to have a sense of ceremony attached to it. If it's not a proper confetti off the down from the ceiling, babyface celebration, the long chase, it's meant to be, he's got it. Yeah. Or they've got it, she's got it, whatever. He's had this belt in his hands for 3 seconds. It's meant to be a big thing. Oh, there's another match, guys. Shut up, man! It's absolutely pathetic. It's no wonder the titles don't mean anything. It's no wonder half these titles don't mean anything. I sound like a bad faith podcast of these. What a baby. I'm 39. I'm having a rant. I don't want to be this person.
Did Horishi just arrive and then leave? It's like his truck just drives past all the dogs in the car park. All right, mate, what are you doing here? Get a title shot, probably. I think Mark's in trouble, isn't he, mate? Oh, yeah.
This made on so many levels. The Ishii stuff, the way the titles are treated.
And by the way, sorry, Ishii and Suzuki and like what used to be this, oh my God,
That's dead.
hard-hitting
It's
guy from
dead.
New Japan is dead. Like, nobody buys it, nobody cares. Like, it's
Ishii, people...
that match with the
chopped titty. Blitty titty.
People remember that and care, but,
You had people like this collision run. I thought it was 3.5 star tier, fair. But people liked it, so I understand why they're going back to it. But just, my God, do some heat. If you're going to do heat, just actually do the heat. On so many levels, with Cassidy not being there and O'Reilly not being there and Ishii not caring about the conglomeration, so much of this made so little sense. So I'm looking forward to moving on. The Undisputed Kingdom called out MJF.
yeah.
I said from the start, right, that there is no way of telling the story properly, considering you've just completely reversed all the alignments because you had to, and it makes no sense. You cannot. One thing doesn't link to another. In fact, it links to the opposite thing. And the basic gist is that Adam Cole comes out. Story time by Adam Cole, and I shivered. Adam. So yeah. So Strong said that MJF used Cole.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
what happened was, and this is the actual canonical explanation, right? What happened was, Adam Cole and Roderick Strong used MJF to string him along. Oh, we'll pretend he's our mate, put him in a position of weakness so that we can teach him a lesson. I mean, Joe got the world title, so they didn't even get the title out of it, right?
Yeah.
Right. But whatever, they wanted to...
That would have been the... Yeah.
They wanted to destroy him mentally because they're baddies and they're devils and they didn't like him very much. Yeah. And wouldn't it be good if we just, like... and this is not a bad story beat, it was just the execution was all wrong. This little loser who we just don't like, we found his fatal flaw. He wants to be accepted even though he pretends not to be. What if we pretend to accept him and just completely destroy him mentally? If you take away the Devil's Masked Men, the cyber hacking, and the light show when they're hacking the lights, and it looks like one of those basketball games of sorry, I
was thinking that.
You're ready for Adam. You know what I mean? That's what it looked like. The light shows and the hacking. It was nonsense. It was a total nonsense. It was absolutely TNA pilled. But at its core, the story was they have tried to get under his skin and basically, like, you know, whatever. You know how they accomplished this? They together shot slow motion vignettes in which Adam Cole was annoyed and frustrated by, you know, the way in which the sandwiches were buttered and the temperature of the coffee.
Yeah.
And how he's like, you know, you've got an injured leg. I know the Kingdom are right there, but they're busy. Why don't you, on your injured leg... Your ankle, by the way, has been so shattered that it requires a dead man's bone to repair it. We do some feng shui in my apartment. And then they filmed these vignettes with the express purpose of making it seem like Adam Cole was being annoyed by Roderick Strong. Mm-hmm. They couldn't possibly be in cahoots. Do you want to know why we can't be in cahoots for this really fiendish scheme? It's so evil that we are comparing it to nothing less than the devil himself. Because... Roderick Strong is whinging that I made his coffee too hot. Why don't you just wait? It's actually better, Roddy, if you wait because the flavors develop more in the cup as it cools.
They really should have brought that up at the time to make this make sense. Blow on it, Roddy.
MJF used them. It's an absolute joke, right? So they say that, you know, I think it's the basic gist. I was bored of this already. It's the basic gist that, I mean, fair play to them for trying. Mm-hmm. They cannot do this. I'm going to get to what they should have done instead, okay, eminently. The general gist is that Roderick Strong's like, I won first, because I hate MJF.
And a little bit of you supposed to think they're going to turn on Adam Cole, like the three of them. Like, are they against him? But
or at the very least. So the basic gist is that MJF appears, which I'm going to talk about because I like this part.
Yeah.
So MJF interrupts when they realize, I won first. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. MJF... I really like this because I don't particularly think MJF swilling the red wine glass being a bit arch and sinister is what he's good at. He's good being giddy with how much of an arsehole he is.
Mm-hmm.
And he was that MJF last night and a lot of time. So he interrupts. He's not going to be there. In fact, he's not going to be there in person until Full Gear, probably. He was just lying down getting a massage by a gratuitously stacked extra actress who was giving him the massage. And he basically says, right, I'll wrestle one of you at Full Gear. I'm not going to appear, before that. But here's the thing. Whoever can beat the next 3 opponents first, have at it. You've got me at Full Gear. I think the thing is that it'll be Strong versus Cole for the 3rd match, surely, right?
Because he's picking the opponents, isn't he? So
yeah. No, he's not.
Oh, no, of course not.
He's not.
Yeah.
He's not.
Yeah.
There's something you might have been confused by, though. So he's getting the massage. He's like, lower, baby, lower, lower. And he goes, you know what? Whatever happens, I hope you get your happy ending out of all this. I know I will.
Yeah, so that's the match against MJF at the pay-per-view, correct?
That's what MJF thinks.
Yeah.
No. He's not talking about a happy ending.
Confused.
Right, okay, what he's going to do, because he's on his front, right?
Yeah.
So a happy ending, to get his happy ending, what he's going to do there, he's going to pop over on his back.
Right.
Right?
Uh-huh.
And then he's going to get jerked off.
Ah, right.
He's going to get jerked off to issue.
There and then, or at Full Gear live on pay-per-view?
With the way it's going.
If neither of them win their 3 matches.
No, he's going to ejaculate. Yeah, on the massage table, yeah.
Got you. That's clear to me now. I didn't understand.
Yeah, you didn't understand.
I thought they were, because he's positioned them as the baby faces, they're going to have a happy ending. This was better, but you were right. It is fundamentally broken story.
They can't do it.
Stick together with chewing gum, don't they? Like, MJ, like maybe this detail isn't necessary, but MJF wasn't like.
I thought he was on good form.
He was good. This performance, it was good, but it wasn't like they came up with why did he craft this? They were like, we want the match for you, and he could have said, no. He's like, I've actually come up with this really cool scheme. Check it out, guys. I'm actually going to give you.
He's got a contracted amount of dates where if he's in breach of a limited amount of matches, because he's a star. So my headcanon,
he's wrestled John Silver. He's desperate for a match. Why offer either of them the validation and the vindication they so desperately want?
Come on, mate, it's wrestling. Even I know that.
Fair enough. That's absolutely because it's wrestling. I will take that.
But then, he probably wants a bit of a measure of revenge against them as well. And he's thinking that if he weakens them ahead of the pay-per-view, then he's going to have an easy night. It's not hard. You're having trouble with it. Yeah, which is going to get jerked off to issue.
See? We're on the same page. Yeah, this was fine.
Where does the cum go in those situations? I'm not going to talk about. Straight up in the air. Kyle O'Reilly is watching on intently backstage. No, to the segment on television. Here's the thing.
He knows those guys.
Do you reckon, right? They're all pretty good mates, I think. I think they're all like totally best mates, in fact, in the old Undisputed Era, Kingdom, whatever we're calling them.
And they've got a grandfather figure in Bobby Fish.
Oh, hang on. They've got a button, baby. Why is this thing not working? Talk.
Well, what is it you're looking for? This is it's got like Wilborn's fingerprint recognition on, because whenever you try and press those arrows, nothing happens. You found it?
So, yeah. Okay. So I was going to say, what do they all think that, we're getting in storylines again? Do you reckon secretly they're like, oh, God, I can't be arsed? I think they just like it.
I think they like hanging out together at work.
They're just linked forever, aren't they? And I don't really care, but we'll see. So, I was saying, it went by the Undisputed Era, Undisputed Kingdom.
Undisputed Elite.
It's time
to play the game! Time to play a game! Ha 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 ha!
It's not a very snappy name for a quiz, this. What name, when it appeared that they were heading in the direction of an Undisputed Era versus Elite feud in AEW, with a former Undisputed Era rumored to gonna go by?
It
was weird. It was so let's face it, was so AEW, just so I'll give you a clue. One word,
Undisputed.
No. One word of that's the name of the faction.
Right. Because they all came from over here. Next.
No. It's better than the goddamn punchline, actually. That's no worse. It's no worse.
Coal miners.
No, let's be serious. Think of like a generic word, one word for a stable.
It's just retribution to came into my head, and you can't have that.
No.
Go on, him.
Paragon. Do you remember that?
Vaguely.
Yeah. Yeah,
Paragon.
Nicholas, our beautiful producer's right. They kept saying we are the paragon of AEW. It was like, all right, so that's a T-shirt. It's getting lined up, and then I think one of them got injured or something. Or, it just never ever worked. It never ever worked out. Ski.
The Moxley one, the paradigm was like another a couple of weeks ago because he's shifting the paradigm yet again.
He loves that.
Loves it, man.
He absolutely bloody loves it.
Just get them all back in WWE.
We'll get the Penelope Ford
Get
thing.
the Undisputed era back.
Oh,
Old music, old gear. Adam Cole wins the belt. Like, I don't think there's anybody that would complain if you just lift. Can you come over there for us? And Triple H like, look at the Undisputed era back. Oh my god! He gets to push Adam Cole.
Yeah.
Who has a bad time with that? Zero people. I love this reaction Adam Cole gets on Dynamite. The crowd still come up for his catchphrases and his music, and it just reminds me of the good times for a second. Like, if he was opening every Dynamite, I'd be fooled into staying up late, eating cereal, thinking, oh, well, he's going to come out next. See him? Oh, no, he's definitely not coming out.
Yeah.
Like, but I don't know.
No, he is. He is coming back. He said it. The Punker's a man of his word. He speaks truth to power. He says it all the goddamn time.
Ask yourself why they're doing rotating commentary.
And I'm power. He speaks truth to power all the time. He's coming back. He speaks truth to power all the time. Is what he says. And I'm power. Power and glory. Ever heard of him?
Watch some tape. Watch some tape of Pray to Paul Roman.
Well, I watch the tape. It's like, when you have to like pay a fine or whatever, like in lieu of jail time.
Yeah.
And it's like, you guys watch tape. If you don't watch that tape,
tickets.
if you don't watch that tape, you can get in some jail time. You are getting some jail time. Deputy Dax decrees it.
We nickname them Herc and Jerk, don't we, Dad? We sure do, Dax. We sure do. I'm Herc, though, right? Don't make me Jerk, Cash.
I don't want to like be wrestlers. I'm like, no, I can't be Bret Hart. I can't be Bret Hart. I can't be Bret Hart. You can be Bruce.
I've always got to be Bruce.
Right.
Who's going to be the big rhino?
We got the video package of Penelope Ford saying, this is why I attacked you, basically, because no one cared about my return.
Where is my respect?
Where is my respect? And then we get a follow-up response with Jamie Hayter. She basically said that she's here to remind people of who the hell she is. And she just basically does the old, I slept on floors, I did all the duping, and you can't really say that I haven't done the work because I've done way more work than you, etc. And match soon. Yeah. I'm sure there's a good line in here that I've not written down. I just did the broad outline. Like a good bit of wordplay, but I forget.
Oh, it's very mid still. Jamie Hayter, return. Not so good, Al.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. The House of Black have a really competitive match next. This is so weird. This show is so weird.
It's the most winningest trio in AEW history you're talking about. I mean, it's not like it's a fair fight, is it, if you're going to be fighting these scrubs every week?
That in itself is a problem. So we had misdirect. Our plans changed, but it was like trios. They're a trio. They're great at trios.
Yeah.
They're the most winningest trios. On Collision, they've just won the match that officially christens them the most winningest trio in the history of AEW. And of course, they were great former AEW Trios champions. Buddy Matthews is going to have a singles match. What?
Yeah, that was a bit
so they beat Kevin Koa, Jaden Monroe, and Parata de la Muerte. They get murdered. Daddy Magic's really good at conveying the threat. It's a good squash. They're good squash guys.
He likes seeing people get their asses kicked.
Yeah. He's got a bit of like a ghoulish sort of sense of humor. The House of Black are good at making already pitiful looking geeks look even more dead. So that was fantastic. Matthews, who is, again, 1/3 of the most winningest trio of all time, who has been established on Collision, having won, what was it, the 25th match as a trio, that they have won the most trios matches out of everyone. Buddy Matthews offers Adam Cole out for a singles match.
He's 1/3 of the most winning stable and 1 of 2/3 of the ones that actually does jobs.
Yeah, I know.
So,
I know.
Maybe
you didn't send your best guy. Poor psychology. You got a citation for that.
Imagine these gauntlets, and every time it was the House of Black, it's like, right, you've got past Buddy. We think you can take Brody King. Oh, great, who's next? Malachi Black. Oh, no. What a waste of my time.
Anyway. So he says, now that it's cleared, I'm going to go and fight Adam Cole. Bye-bye.
Bit out of nowhere.
In a singles match, it's completely out of nowhere.
Yeah. Might be good, though.
Oh, pretty quickly. So Adam Cole says he's backstage, just there. Just happens to be there. I suppose he was milling around earlier. I guess it's fine. But people are always in the same place in wrestling, aren't they?
Yeah.
A fundamentally stupid medium. That could be approached in a million different ways other than the stupid approach, but conversation for another day. Hopefully Tony Khan will have it at some point. He walks up to Buddy Matthews in Gorilla. Why is it purple? Why is it purple? Joey, why is it spooky?
Yeah. The old, Kane's in the corridor, so it must be a red one. That sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Why does wrestling have to be like this, for Christ's sake? Why does it have to be the most artificial, contrived, convenient nonsense art form ever?
Just looking at like...
So Cole's like, what's your problem, mate? And Matthews is like, I'll tell you. Oh, why do you want to match with me? Why are you calling me out? Because I want to prove a point. And what's the point? It's your fraudulent.
Isn't having a dead man's bone more House of Black than House of Black?
I bet your Malachi's gutted.
Oh, cool. Can I get one? Got any eyes or elbows or anything?
Camille defeats Queen Aminata in this match where you are meant to take a powerhouse pretty damn seriously as an emerging threat to the women's division. I did. It just wasn't the one who won the match. Aminata's, some of her stuff looked good. Like she does this, basically this flying forearm elbow thing that looks devastating. It looks like she just had her jaw rocked. Camille. When it's Camille's time to do stuff, it don't look no good, really. I think she takes like head scissors and they're just completely on different... They're in different rings.
The best spot in the match.
One of them's in a normal ring, the other one's on Jeff Hardy's spiral. That's how confused this dynamic was. There's some backbreakers. It's not particularly good.
Strike, and then she lands where she can eyeball Mercedes Money. And like they're not even in a foo-head anymore.
Yeah.
That was like the hottest bit of the match.
Yeah.
Like,
so Camille ends up winning. It was... I understand why she had to win. I mean, it'd be pretty embarrassing for her if she's going to have a match with Chris Statlander that's already been announced. And she just lost and there's no juice to that match. So it's really convenient, in fact. It's really good that Camille won. We kind of wanted that to happen.
Yeah, not good.
Not good. The booking...
Not good,
the only thing I like about all of this is that mere fact that it's taking longer than the majority of Mercedes Money's title defense of the pay-per-view cycle is that, other than Britt Baker, it feels like the one that's gone the longest. The pure time investment makes me think that it's not a complete foregone conclusion.
No, Camille is not necessarily based on this evidence, but is, I think, still somebody you've got to consider protecting and you've got to consider preserving the character of. She can lose, and obviously she's a heater, so she will have to. But it was Statlander's thing for me here.
Sorry, I should mention that Camille wins with a spinning reverse neck breaker and looked like ass. And in the post-match, Statlander comes out. She confronts Camille. Mercedes Money tries to hit her in the back. Yeah. Knee effect. She completely missells it. I thought Mercedes Money's facials were good in the post-match and in the match when it looked like, oh, God, this Aminata has given us more of a challenge than I expected. So it was a decent night for her. And then they just... what happens? Money grabs the leg and Camille hits a spinning neck breaker. This one wasn't botched beyond belief.
They've just made such work for themselves as Statlander, haven't they? She's just had one of the matches of the year.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know.
You never do.
You never know, man. I don't know why they do it. Like this is probably the third or fourth time this has happened with her, where the booking has just completely lost interest in Chris Statlander, but like AEW fans, to their immense credit, refuse to. And then she continues to have matches that remind you why, and then the cycle repeats and repeats again. Yeah. And this is kind of the worst version of that cycle because of how amazing the Willow Nightingale match was, and how many things they had to do turning Chris Statlander heel to arrive at the point where that match was as heated, only to then drop it cold and babyface. That, like, we probably don't talk enough about that.
No.
Like, if you know what I mean, in terms of like negligence, because she's been in that pattern. Like, she was Space Woman Chris Statlander, and people just loved her in spite of how daft the gimmick was and how it was quite hard to push her. And they pushed her anyway. Devastating double injury stuff as it kind of ends careers, and yet she comes back. One of the all-time great Pandemic comes back with the grabber machine where she so many. Like, we were in Vegas for that comeback where she beat Jade Cargill.
You know what? Sorry, I'm interrupting you. I've stepped
Maybe
on your
just
dick.
the most mishandled AEW wrestler ever because of the sheer amount of times it's happened and with the almost like ruthless consistency in which they cut her legs off.
I've stepped on your dick. I'm actually going to be nice about AEW here.
All right.
Remember Best Friends versus Kip Sabian and Miro?
Yes.
And we were like, God, this is going on forever, and who could possibly care? Especially when, in the very next breath, at the merest hint of conflict, you have Tony Khan would have a pre-prepared match graphic. Like, 4 seconds later, book that next week. That's good. Yep. It was Statlander's injury layoff that meant that match had to be delayed, wasn't it?
Arcade Anarchy was like 6 months later.
Yeah. And they probably thought, oh, Christ, she's not ready, and we really want her to come back in this match.
Do that visual gag.
Aye.
Maybe.
But maybe I'm going to be nice.
But you just map them all out, and she's just bad hand after bad hand after bad hand, and this is another one. Like, how she gets this, like, middling response, and she's like, it's that GTA meme, isn't it?
No one knows what to make of her.
Yeah, it's that GTA. Well, here we go again. Like, I've got to try and get all over again.
I resent AEW so much for making me sound like Bruce Pritchard on these goddamn podcasts, but it doesn't get these awesome responses because there's not much character and storytelling.
Story.
Where's the story? Like, where is it? It's crap. I know it exists, but it's terrible. Oh my God. So I think the show was even worse the more you talk about it. I don't think anyone had a good time with this.
No.
You usually get a little bit like, I wish I could see the bright side because we've got this awesome listener base who probably don't want us to completely be snarky, whinging arseholes for an hour.
Sometimes. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, no, I do worry about that. But, I think they'll let us know. I'll do the outro. They'll let us know in the comments below the X post. Not yet, brother. Close, we're very soon. What a sad state of affairs. In what I would describe, considering this is an existential threat for the thing you most care about, AEW, they do a sight gag here where the gang of, let's face it, losers. Yeah. And I'm not just, that's mean. Look at the cage match. Look at the Butcher. He loses on Rampage all the week. God, I love him, but he loses on Rampage all the time that he's on. John Silver, he's not a former AEW champion now, is he? Nope. So the gang of losers, and that's what they literally are outside, weapon in hands. It's been an hour and 35 minutes. I'm getting pretty nuts.
What weapon was in his hand there?
What did I do? No, the baton. I mean, it's just from experience, I'm used to holding something the size of a nunchuck.
We're going to give John Moxley's crew a happy ending.
A nuncack. So John Silver's giving it the old... Nunmuck. Anyway, you don't reckon they're a bit cold? They've been out there for an hour and 40 minutes. They've been out there at this point for around an hour and 35 minutes. We see them at the start of the show. It's mid-October now. No, in fact, I would describe this as it's late October. We're into the last week. It's late October.
The hunt for mid-October. It's just like a top reviewing Dynamite in the winter.
Where were they?
I can't remember.
Will you have a look then,
Yeah,
please?
I'll find out. Go on.
Because I might
carry on, sorry.
I mean, it's Gates in England. It's pretty cold, right? It is pretty cold. So they're tough, battle-hardened warriors. They don't really care about the temperature, and they've got it doesn't matter to them.
No.
So they are eagerly awaiting the arrival of the Blackpool Combat Club. Would you not maybe think after an hour and 40 minutes? Hang on, maybe they've used maybe they used one of the other 50 entrances to the arena.
Salt Lake City, Utah. That's why there's such a Salt Lake, because of all the...
Check the temperature. Salt Lake City weather while I talk. So there's like a side gag of, here's the Jeep. It's time for war. It's the funny, caustic, nasty Christian Cage. And everyone sees him. It's like, God, I thought you were bloody John Moxley. No, I'm Christian Cage.
Yeah.
Is that not a bit of a side gag?
A little bit, I suppose. I think it was... Like, the idea that Christian's arrival just annoys everybody is quite cute.
Yeah.
But you're right.
You don't want cute with this.
That's it. You probably shouldn't overlap.
Yeah, it's like, God, it's bloody Christian Cage, isn't it? I was expecting John Moxley and his Christian Cage. So he comes out and goes, I'm the next AEW champion. I'm the next AEW champion. And he sees Kip Sabian.
About 7 degrees Celsius.
I mean, I'd want a coat. Would you?
Yeah.
If it's 7 degrees.
Get the guy's coat, yeah.
Then again.
But then there's also a massive spotlight because they're being filmed waiting for Moxley. So that'll be
they're
pretty warm. Like, we had that one on us in the All-In weekend show, right in our face, and it was boiling on the
Between
stage.
takes of the TV show that they are producing here, who's to say that they're not wearing coats? So here, and I'm meant to be a badass pro wrestling babyface, right? What are we in, commercial? Yeah. Just gives a code for a little bit if no one can see. Then it's like, action! And the code comes off.
One of them's left their, like, Dunder Mifflin dressing gown on. Forgot to take it off for the attack.
So Christian comes and he's like, hey, little squirts. Boo the pantomime heel. The one you're meant to care about. It's like imminent.
Number one contender.
Even though you might have probably got there already because it's been an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Kip Sabian runs away.
Well, there's that, that follows up later on. It's Kip Sabian, isn't it? It's,
Yeah. So anyway, they come to the ring. Because they're chasing Kip Sabian. Chip Sabian.
Chip Sabian. FBI.
That's going to be his gimmick next year when he inevitably gets another turn. He's been box-heed. Box-heed Chris Sabian. That's his 2026 gimmick.
Chip Sabian, because it's English. Put the chips in the bag, mate.
You're washed. Chris Sabin. I got it confused. Anyway, so he comes out, and we see Hook.
Yes.
He goes, you seen the video footage, Hook? And even though it's a crime, that should be reported. Just wait until Dynamite or whatever to disclose who's seen it. Don't do it to the authorities. In fact, don't even show Tony Khan.
Yeah.
Just, it'd be good TV, won't it? American wrestling needs to change. Or at least this version of it. Anyway, so he comes to the ring. So I know who did it. It was Christian Cage. I'm going to kick his ass. So he goes, bam, 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 boom. Starts kicking his ass. Nick Wayne tries to do Wayne's World, but it gets countered in the red room. That's pretty cute. And Kip Sabian, boom! Little blue in it to Hook. And he's now turned. And I do think it's quite funny that Christian Cage treats him with such contempt. That's not like, oh, thanks. That's like, get in the corner. I'll talk to you about it later.
Do you in a minute, yeah.
Has they not got a worm in the group already? Like the little bastard character, Nick Wayne. Why do they need Kip Sabian to do it?
I guess so. I hadn't really thought about that. I didn't see Nick Wayne as a worm. I saw him as just a devotee.
Yeah, but like in terms of the heat, he's the little wormy guy. That's the function he has in the stable.
It's just weird, isn't it? I always feel like we're being too harsh on Kip Sabian, but it is weird that there's been this much focus placed on it, and like there's no sort of heat to. There was no clamour or anything. It's just like, oh, he's with these guys now.
Yeah, he sure is.
He's done it through the oddest of ways as well.
Yep, he sure is. Anyway, we are really going along here. So the main event happens, and it's good.
Yeah,
it's good. Yeah. I don't think it's great. I don't get that. How is that not the finish? That is the measuring stick for a Young Bucks match. You have this awesome, like almost relief that the match hasn't finished yet. You are so into it that you kind of believe that the near fall wasn't the near fall. It's basically a Young Bucks trios match where they've not really thought a great deal about it, is my succinct take on matters. Even so, it's still difficult to go move by move by move. So I won't. I will say that Daniel Garcia, despite over-egging it, was pretty good at chewing the scenery and trying to sell the idea that he really wanted to win this one.
Yeah.
He showed a will to win, which is a nice sort of... That's one of the few things you maybe don't get in a Young Bucks trios match. This, like, I actually really want to win it. I don't just want to do some cool sequences. Yeah. I don't want to reduce it, but it does sort of drift in that direction at times. There's a really good spot where, because he's so, yes, fired up on the outside, that adds a different layer to the swipe his feet off the apron so he can't get in spot, and that took me aback. The general gist of the finish, though, is that they again play on the events of the second ever episode of Dynamite, where they go for the gin and juice and they reverse the block off the Melter driver or the EVP driver or whatever it's called now, the TK driver. And Cassidy rolls up Matthew Jackson to add a new tweak on it. After which it is revealed that the Blackpool Combat Club have been there all along. And Claudio and whatever, they start chinning Garcia and Private Party because they're the real players in this feud, not the really close-knit tandem of the Butcher and Satnam Singh. And then Jon Moxley dressed like, you know that episode where Mo feels like he can only keep hold of his recently acquired girlfriend by showering her with gifts and money. But then he starts to run out of money, so decides, I will do the old insurance fraud on my car. But he tasks Homer with it.
Yeah.
And Homer rolls it down the hill and then opens the door, goes down the hill, and a rock flings him back into the car. That's what Jon Moxley looks like, except in an incredible condition.
Yeah.
But it was giving burglar. Jon Moxley was giving burglar. Yeah. Pollard tweeted that. Pollard tweeted the wet bandit thing. He was giving burglar.
The Burglar Combat Club.
So the Burglar Combat Club then start kicking ass. Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy come out, and Chuck Taylor gets Pillmanized on his neck.
There's a nice little thing there where Yuta goes for the ankle, and Claudio's like, "No, you stupid idiot kid."
Break his neck.
Yeah.
Because that's the history there.
Still learning to be as violent as he should be in this group.
And
as well.
Chuck Taylor, they were initially linked. He's going to be one of the best friends before he joined the BCC.
Sounds like you saying that's enough.
I will say one thing about this before I get your thoughts on me, but wrap it all up. And I will say this. Orange Cassidy's facial expressions elevated and increasingly TNA pilled, giving burglar ankle.
Giving burglar.
Wake me up when Kenny Omega comes back.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not giving up on the promotion or anything like that. If it's good, I'll say it's good. My immediate thought when pressing stop here was, I just can't see this getting good or something I'm interested in. Wake me up when Kenny Omega comes back.
It'd be unfair to say, I've got nothing else to add on the match. The stipulation as well. We didn't talk about that.
All right, yeah, sorry.
Private party.
So what happens is, the Young Bucks are there, and again, they're in the same scene with Blackpool Combat Club. So there's an element of interest there. But private party, and we've gone too long as it is, and I don't want to step on the dick of the preview. Challenge the Young Bucks to another match, and if they split up, if they fail to win the titles, to split up. So that's interesting. I'll say one thing actually before I get your thoughts on all of this: match and post match, and the match doesn't matter, does it?
Does not. One bit.
I like the idea. It almost, in retrospect, makes it marginally less WWE 2019. That's all been building to. We can pinion the matches that don't matter, but in the real stuff, in the real quiz, the real main event, we can't get it done. I like the idea of the Young Bucks going, all right, okay, well, they've kind of been a thorn in our side. They do beat us. When it's proper game time, the best, like the big series, we can do it, but they're a bit of a thorn on our side. I will give you the shot because we're kind of scared of you because you pin us. They've at least made sense of them just getting pinned to set up a match or whatever.
No, it's got a bit more intrigue, to be absolutely fair to the booking. And it feels like a concentrated effort with Private Party now to either give them this great moment, which AEW, to be fair to AEW historically as well, they did a stipulation where wrestling would have the team lose and split up. Often AEW does their, God, they won the belts. This is awesome. So there's that. I definitely think they've used that company's history to make this feel like a believable title change could happen. Good booking for that. I didn't really see coming as well. It's a nice surprise. The rest of it was fine. I'm totally with you on the Moxley. They are not doing a strong enough job, and this is absolutely on Jon Moxley. And if this is his pet project, tighten it up and figure it out. The sense of chaos just is not there. No. The sense of danger, the sense of unease and violence.
I want people to bleed.
Yeah, I don't even think it was really there in the second carrier bag, but it was more that Yuta had agreed to turn rather than the actual physical act of the bag.
It started so well, this.
Yeah, it's a big ask. You're not going to get carrier bag energy every week. That sounds like an insult, but you know what I'm talking about. You're not going to get that every week, but you need to do a better job than just... even Pillmanizing has been normalized. By all rights, Chuck Taylor...
Normalised his ankle.
is dead R.I.P. Chuck Taylor, but it's just neck brace in 3 weeks. It's... I don't know. They have to figure out a way that this just feels more of a transgression, even though now we're well into the weeds of the story. I like the Elite still being part of it. It all does still feel like they're the ones that are opening the door. How on earth have they got in the building? Well, the Young Bucks let them in. And when that all gets revealed, those dorks with the nunchucks going to be even bloody hungrier.
And then you get the Elite versus Dark Order again.
You're ruining it. You get the Young Bucks being able to do their own. Scream! And speed away from John Silver or whatever. But like, this wasn't good. Sorry, guys.
It wasn't good. It was almost brain-melting WCW logic at times. Like, I never use that comparison, ever. That the worst of WCW. Some of this was absolutely inscrutable. Some of this was, how are there other people in the room going, yeah, that makes sense to me, boss. You know what I mean? It was absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely stupid.
Right off the week and get Dynamite right next week or something.
Hey, there's always next week. There's always next week. But this week, we would like your feedback. Let us know what you thought about this show on the What Culture WWE X page on the link underneath to the post, which we don't even do that anymore, do we?
Nicholas does a video one, don't you?
Do it on the bloody video. Out. And join and subscribe the video channel on YouTube at What Culture Wrestling Podcast. If you're on Twitter and just want to chat or whatever, talk to him. Where you at?
I'm at Michael Hamflett.
I'm at M. Sidgwick. Our beautiful producer, Adam Nicholas, is at It's Adam Nicholas. I think that's it for the old podskis today, but we'll be back tomorrow to preview various TV shows. And you might want to also subscribe to What Culture Gaming. Keep your eyes peeled for that. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for, quite frankly, I think at this point today, tolerating us. If the show's good, we'll be in better moods. See you later, guys.